Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. It's great to have you here with us. You know, some holidays roll around and we embrace the long weekend, the barbecues, the unofficial start of summer, and that's all wonderful, truly. But sometimes the deeper meaning, the historical weight of these days, can get a little bit lost in the shuffle of modern life. We think it's super important and actually pretty fascinating to peel back those layers and understand the why behind the what. Today, we're diving into the history and significance of Memorial Day in the USA. This isn't just another day off work or school, it's a day with profound roots, a solemn purpose, and a story that stretches back to one of the most defining periods in American history. We're going to explore its origins, how it evolved, what it truly stands for, and the ways in which people across the country observe this important day of remembrance. It's a story of loss, of honor, and of a nation grappling with the costs of conflict. So grab your metaphorical notebooks, or your actual notebooks, because we're about to embark on a journey through time. We'll look at how a grassroots effort to honor fallen soldiers transformed into a national day of mourning and respect. It's a complex narrative, but one that's essential to understanding a key aspect of the American experience. Understanding Memorial Day is understanding a piece of the American soul. Let's get started. So, what is Memorial Day really, at its heart? Well, fundamentally it's a federal holiday in the United States designated specifically for honoring and, crucially, mourning the U.S. military personnel who have died in the performance of their military duties. This isn't Veterans Day, which honors all who have served in the armed forces, living or deceased. Memorial Day has a more specific, and arguably more somber focus. It's for those who made the ultimate sacrifice, those who went into service and never came home. It's a day set aside for the nation to collectively pause and reflect on the profound cost of freedom and the valor of those who paid that price. The key distinction here is died in the performance of their military duties. This encompasses a wide range of circumstances, from those killed in action on foreign battlefields to those who perished in training accidents or from wounds sustained in combat. It's a recognition that military service by its very nature carries inherent risks, and that many have given their lives not just in wartime, but in the broader context of their service to the nation. This day is about acknowledging that debt, a debt that can never truly be repaid, but one that we are obligated to remember. It's a heavy thought, and it's supposed to be. The act of mourning is just as important as honoring. It acknowledges the grief, the loss, the empty spaces left behind in families and communities. It's a public, national expression of sorrow, a shared understanding that these sacrifices have had a deep and lasting impact. While parades and patriotic displays are common, the core intent is one of solemn remembrance, a quiet contemplation of the human cost of conflict and the dedication of those who served. It's about ensuring their stories, their sacrifices, are not forgotten by the passage of time or the distractions of daily life. This day calls us to remember them, not as abstract heroes but as individuals who lived, loved, and were lost. To truly understand Memorial Day, we have to journey back to the aftermath of the American Civil War, a conflict that tore the nation apart and resulted in an unprecedented loss of life. It's in this period of profound national grief and attempts at reconciliation that the roots of Memorial Day can be found. It wasn't initially called Memorial Day, its original name was Decoration Day, and that name is quite literal. It referred to the practice of decorating the graves of fallen soldiers with flowers, wreaths, and flags. This tradition emerged organically in various communities, both north and south, as people sought ways to honor their dead. The sheer scale of death during the Civil War, over 620,000 soldiers perished, meant that almost every community was touched by loss. Cemeteries, both formal and makeshift, became sacred spaces. Women in particular played a crucial role in these early observances, organizing efforts to tend to the graves of soldiers, regardless of which side they fought for in some instances. These acts of decoration were acts of remembrance, but also acts of healing, an attempt to make sense of the devastation and to honor the sacrifices made. Different towns and cities claim to be the birthplace of Decoration Day, and it's likely that these practices sprang up independently in several locations around the same time, a testament to a shared human need to mourn and remember. One of the earliest formal proclamations for a widespread Decoration Day came in 1868, when General John A. Logan, the Commander-in-Chief of the Grand Army of the Republic, a fraternal organization of Union veterans, called for a national day of remembrance. He designated May 30th as the day to decorate the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion. While initially focused on Union soldiers, the practice gradually expanded to include Confederate dead as well, especially in the South, where similar traditions were already underway. This evolution from a practice born of raw grief into a more formalized observance laid the groundwork for the Memorial Day we know today, a day that began with the simple, poignant act of placing flowers on a soldier's grave. While Decoration Day, as it was known, was widely observed and deeply respected across many parts of the United States for decades after the Civil War, its status as an official nationwide holiday took quite a bit longer to solidify. For many years it was observed on May 30th, as per General Logan's original proclamation, and many states had recognized it as a legal holiday. However, it wasn't until the 20th century, and specifically after the nation had endured further global conflicts, that the push for federal recognition gained significant momentum. The sacrifices of American soldiers in World War I and then World War II broadened the scope of remembrance beyond just the Civil War dead. The name itself also underwent a gradual evolution. While Decoration Day remained common for many years, the term Memorial Day began to gain favor, reflecting the day's broader purpose of memorializing all war dead, not just those from the Civil War, and emphasizing the act of remembering, rather than solely decorating. This linguistic shift mirrored a societal shift in understanding the holiday's significance. It became a day to honor all American military personnel who had died in all wars, a solemn recognition of the continuous sacrifices made across generations to defend the nation's ideals and interests. The pivotal moment in its official status came much later than many might think. It was in 1968 that Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, an act designed to create more three-day weekends for federal employees. This act is responsible for shifting several public holidays to designated Mondays. As part of this legislation, Memorial Day was officially established as a federal holiday, and its observance was moved from the fixed date of May 30th to the last Monday in May. This change went into effect in 1971. So, while the traditions are old, its official, legally mandated status as a federal holiday celebrated on this specific Monday is a relatively more recent development in its long history. The decision to observe Memorial Day on the last Monday of May, as established by the Uniform Monday Holiday Act of 1971, wasn't arbitrary, though it did mark a change from the traditional May 30th date. The primary driver behind the Uniform Monday Holiday Act was largely economic and practical. The creation of three-day weekends was seen as beneficial for workers, providing more leisure time and also for businesses, potentially boosting travel and retail. This was a broader legislative effort that affected several holidays, including Washington's birthday, now often called President's Day, Labor Day, and Columbus Day. For Memorial Day specifically, selecting the last Monday in May aimed to provide a consistent long weekend towards the end of spring, often seen as the unofficial start of summer. This timing, however, has been a point of some debate over the years. Proponents argued that a three-day weekend allowed more families to travel to cemeteries and memorials, or to participate in commemorative events. It also provided a predictable schedule for schools and businesses. The late May timing also coincided with a period when flowers are typically in bloom across much of the country, harkening back to the original Decoration Day traditions of adorning graves. However, some veterans groups and traditionalists expressed concerns that moving the holiday from its fixed date of May 30th might dilute its solemn meaning, potentially leading to it being viewed more as just another long weekend rather than a sacred day of remembrance. They worried that the convenience of a three-day weekend might overshadow the profound sacrifices it's meant to honor. Despite these concerns, the last Monday in May has remained the official date for over half a century now. The challenge, then, becomes ensuring that the convenience of the long weekend doesn't eclipse the profound duty of remembrance that lies at the holiday's core. It's a tension between modern scheduling and historical solemnity. So, how do Americans actually observe Memorial Day? The traditions are varied, ranging from deeply personal acts of remembrance to large public ceremonies, all aimed at honoring and mourning those who died in military service. One of the most enduring and significant traditions is visiting cemeteries and memorials. On this day, cemeteries across the country, Particularly national cemeteries like Arlington become focal points for remembrance. Volunteers, often from veterans groups and youth organizations like the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, spend days placing small American flags on each grave, a poignant visual representation of the scale of sacrifice. Families also visit the graves of their loved ones, leaving flowers, wreaths, and other tributes. Beyond individual visits, many communities organize formal Memorial Day ceremonies. These often include parades featuring active-duty military personnel, veterans, marching bands, and civic groups. These parades are typically followed by services at memorials or cemeteries, which might include speeches by dignitaries and veterans, the playing of taps, rifle salutes, and moments of silence. The National Moment of Remembrance, established by Congress in 2000, calls on all Americans to pause for a minute of silence at 3:00 p.m. local time on Memorial Day to reflect on the sacrifices made by fallen service members. It's a collective breath, a shared moment of quiet contemplation amidst the day's activities. Other traditions include flying the American flag at half-staff from dawn until noon, as a symbol of mourning, and then raising it to full staff until sunset, symbolizing the nation's enduring resolve. Many people also wear red poppies, a tradition inspired by the World War I poem In Flanders Fields, which describes poppies blooming on battlefields. While barbecues and gatherings with family and friends are also common, marking the unofficial start of summer for many, the hope is that these activities are accompanied by an understanding and appreciation of the day's true meaning. It's a blend of solemnity and the affirmation of life that those sacrifices helped protect. And that brings us to the end of our exploration into Memorial Day. It's a day that carries so much weight, a tapestry woven from threads of grief, honor, history, and national identity. From its origins as Decoration Day in the shadow of the Civil War, to its current status as a federal holiday, its core purpose remains: to remember and mourn the U.S. military personnel who gave their lives in service to their country. It's a commitment we make as a nation and as individuals, to ensure their stories and their sacrifices are never relegated to dusty history books. Understanding Memorial Day is about more than just knowing the facts and dates. It's about connecting with the human cost of conflict and appreciating the profound dedication of those who served and did not return. It's a call to reflect on the values they defended and the peace they sought to secure. As we enjoy the freedoms and opportunities of our daily lives, it's vital to remember those who paid the ultimate price for them. This remembrance can take many forms, from quiet personal reflection to active participation in community events. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative and perhaps a little thought-provoking, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into topics that shape our world. We truly appreciate your support. We're really curious. Leave a comment below about how you observe Memorial Day, or perhaps a tradition in your community that you find particularly meaningful. Sharing these experiences helps us all connect more deeply with the spirit of the day. See you next time.